Good morning. It's Abe Antonucci with the Destination Real Estate Podcast, coming to you from Bozeman, Montana. I'm your host, Abe Antonucci with Next Home Destination Real Estate. I'm a local real estate agent in Bozeman, and my wife and I, Sarah, own a brokerage here called Next Home Destination with the Next Home franchise. Just going to give you some local morning updates and stats on where we're at in Montana, particularly in the Bozeman, Montana market. So these are just fresh off the press. So this morning we've got, I just controlled for single family homes in Bozeman city limits. And so Bozeman city limits would be an area that's controlled by the city of Bozeman. It's going to have city water, city sewer, city police, and it's been annexed into the city limits. If it's out in the county, it might have a Bozeman address, but it's going to be just a mailing address. It's not going to actually be the city of Bozeman. So, with that being said, a quick definition of what's a single family home. A single family home is a house sitting on a lot that is owned by the primary owner, not by an HOA, not by a condo association. It is strictly a stick-built house or a concrete house or whatever house, but has its own lot with a separate parcel. So for definition purposes, I think that's critical because it's. I'm not going to look at stats here for condos or townhomes this morning. That's a different discussion. But what we're going to talk about is the median sales price. It's holding steady. The median sales price for the month of December 2023 was $741,385 in the city of Bozeman. So pretty pricey by a lot of standards, but it's been an improvement. We've seen it higher. So I'm going to just look at some stats here for a minute. Let's see, in August, actually it peaked at $945,000. So, it's about $200,000, quote unquote, lower. But also that's people that purchased properties in December were closed. So they might have chosen a less expensive homes to buy, thus the $200,000 decrease. And if we go back to 2022 December, it was $829,500. So if we're talking about affordability, yeah, now's a good time to buy. It's come down approximately $80,000 since 2022 in December, as far as a median goes, and that's a median sales price, not an average, but a median. So we're making a little bit of headway as far as the affordability. It's still expensive. A $741,000 mortgage. If you got, hopefully you put down 5 to 20%, will make it a little more doable, but still fairly expensive. Closed sales, there were 24 in December 2023 in the city of Bozeman and city limits, which is down approximately 7.7% from the month before. And we had a peak in June at 44 closed sales, which is about on par. In the wintertime in the Rocky Mountain West, it's snowy, people don't want to move, it's a little bit more difficult. So, it kind of follows like a bell curve. So that's about right. With a peak of 44 and last month was 24. Median days on market, and this is an interesting stat, it's dropped to 17 days on market. It had reached a peak in November of 47 days on market. So with a lower amount of inventory we have, people are snatching up what's left. And so median days on market is back down to 17. So not a whole lot of options out there. And another interesting stat we're going to look at is the average final list price received. And what that means is, what does the house actually close at for the sales price compared to where they started at for the final list price. So if I had a house for $100,000 and I reduced it to, let's say $98,000, and that was my lowest that I'd listed on the MLS, that was $98,000, and someone made me an offer of $98,000 and got accepted and closed, well, that'd be 100% of the average final list price of that property would be $98,000, because you got it. And if someone came in at $96,000 and the list price was $98,000 and it closed at $96,000, you're going to see maybe a 1 to 2% spread on there and a little bit discounted price, and so that would be reflected in this stat. So overall in Bozeman, it looks like it's almost 98%. So you can expect to pay 98% of the average final list price of a property. So you might be able to get 1 to 2% off is what I'm saying on any sort of property right now. You're not going to be able to come in at like 10, 20% and get, like a huge reduction in price, but you might be able to get some closing costs or something or come down a little bit in price, but not a lot. So super helpful there. We're not accepting any low balls right now currently in this market because there's still tight inventory. There's just not much on the market. Builders starting taking a risk and putting a lot of new properties out there for us. So, and again, this is the median for a single family residence. I'm not talking about townhouse or condo or anything like that. Let's see, new listings. They're up a little bit. I mean, an improvement. We had 18 new listings in November, and they're now 27. And this is the city limits of Bozeman for single family. So a couple more things on the market. In the month's supply of inventory, and this stat's pretty indicative of how strong the economy is for real estate, is at 2.75 months of supply. So if no new houses came on the market today, it would take 2.75 months for us to run out of houses to sell. So that's pretty strong. We'd like to see it normally between 4 and 6 months supply is healthy and kind of keeps the prices, lower. But it's not bad. I mean, it reached a peak in August of 5 months, interestingly enough. And I think that's when the interest rates really spiked, was in August, up to that 8%. So a lot of people kind of held off a little bit. And if we go to 2022 in December, it was 2.15. So almost a year ago, we had even less inventory. So it's a slight improvement, 2.75 over 2.15. Definitely making a little bit of headway on this, and hopefully people will start selling their homes and putting them on the market and helping the inventory increase in Bozeman. Another topic I wanted to address today was talking about you've got like I have a senior in college or a senior in high school right now. She's going to be a freshman in college, and we get in Montana State University and in Bozeman, we get a lot of college parents that come here and they want to purchase a home for their student so they can get out of the dorms or so they can have an investment. So I wanted to talk about buying property to help fund your kid's college. Is that possible? Is that something that's obtainable? So my wife and I, we've been trying to pick up a couple properties now and then when we can. And you can almost name them. You pick a name of your kid and put a name on that property that you purchase, because if you want to fund college, it's expensive right now. And if you don't want to put your kids in debt, maybe it's a way to pay for college for your kids. If you purchase a property and, buy it when they're in grade school, elementary or junior high, and then 4 or 5 years, cash it out, and now you've got a little nest egg to help fund college. Is a good way to do it. Around the country, we typically see between like a 4 and 6% appreciation rate of real estate just in general. So if you could buy something at $100,000, maybe a single family home in the South, maybe Southeast part of the country, or in New England, you pick up a multifamily or something like that. And as long as it cash flows and pays for itself, maybe a little bit each month, and 4 to 5, 10 years when your kid's ready to go to college, you got a nice nest egg. You can either use that to sell and then pull that money that's accrued in the appreciation to pay for school, or you can help offset your tuition costs by having some positive cash flow every month from that property. And that's not always the case. In most places, you might make a couple $100 a month. Some places you might make $1,000 a month. It's not huge, but it's something. And if you need to get a loan for student loans, maybe you can cash out that, or go to the bank and get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit off from that, and pay for the student loans using the appreciation from that real estate. It's just one option. Another option that we see, particularly in Bozeman, is some parents, kids going to school, They're freshmen. They're in the dorms. They're having a good time. They become sophomores in school, and now they're like, you know what? I don't like my roommates. I'm a skier. I have nowhere to store my stuff. Maybe they're a hunter. Maybe they're a fisher kid. Maybe they like to work on cars. They have no garage. So the parents ultimately will buy, not all the time, but maybe a condo or a townhome or a single family home with a garage. Now the kids got places to store their equipment. Ultimately, they'll get a couple roommates, and those roommates, we see at least in our market maybe $800 to $1,000 to $1,200 a month per student for a decent bedroom. That's just a bedroom in a house. So if you had a 3 bed or a 4 bed house, you might be able to charge $3,600 to $4,800 a month between all the roommates that are staying there, and it pays for the unit where they're staying. They have a place to keep their stuff. Teaches them how to be responsible. Now they can cook and clean, and it also saves. If you're a parent and you're paying, the average probably housing costs are 1,200 to 14 or 12,000 to 14,000 a year for housing costs at a full-time university. If you're taking that money instead of just throwing it to the university, if you can invest that in a single family or townhome or condo near your student's university, it'll help offset the costs because you're appreciating with that property, and that the money that you're saving from paying tuition can be used to just put back into the property. So it's just a good way to think about paying for school and helping to earn some potential income in the future, and to set yourself up to have an investment. And if the kid goes to school for maybe 3 years and you're going to pay $12,000 a year to the university, well, you just saved yourself $36,000. There, you can use that money to put down to buy a property. And then when they graduate in 3 to 4 years, now you've got an asset that's just increased, hopefully by, 15, 25%. Make your money back on that. Another thing we see is like parents will buy a property in an area they want to retire in. So Bozeman's a great area for hunting and fishing. And so parents will come here and they'll be like, I'm going to buy the house I want to live in 3 to 4 years when I'm ready to retire, or I want a second home. So you might as well have a student in there helping to offset the cost of the payment of the loan with roommates in there. And then when you're ready to retire, boom, they're out. They're done with school, and you slide right into that unit. And it's been taken care of, right? Because it's your kids. But just if you do that option, just like any property management company, you want to stop by there a couple times a year, making sure that your kids and the students really are taking care of the unit, not trashing it, making sure the exterior looks good. You don't want to really infuriate any neighbors with loud parties, chipping paint, garbage, beer cans, anything like that. You want to make sure that your kids are taking care of the property and that they're fitting in the community and they're being a nice asset to it. There's nothing worse from us as real estate agents when we help facilitate a transaction and then like a year later, the neighbors who know us are now upset because we sold a home and the kids are trashing the neighborhood. So just make sure that you're a good steward of the property if that's a route you go. And not all places this is going to work. Like if you're in New York City and housing is like $3,600 a month to rent an apartment near, NYU University or something, and it's $1 million to buy an apartment in New York City, this is probably not the play for you. It's still probably better for them to go to the dorms because, 12 to 14,000 a year to stay in a dorms in New York City with food is probably a better deal than trying to pick up a piece of property there. The numbers just don't work. Where it will work is more of a rural locations, probably in the southeast parts of the country, New England to some degree. If you're in like rural Massachusetts, maybe rural Maine or New Hampshire, something like that, where you're a little bit further out in the countryside, the houses are less money. It could work. I think of Florida comes to mind, like a Jacksonville area, where you can get a house for maybe 150 grand, 200,000. this would be a really good play. Again, not a great play probably if you're in like Los Angeles, San Diego, somewhere where the housing costs are just exorbitant, and you can't make the numbers work. So, but we know school is expensive. It's not getting any less. And if you've ever thought about it, especially in the MSU, Montana State area, in or near Bozeman, Montana, please give me a call and we can talk about some of these solutions. But even if your kid's going to go to school in, let's say, California, why not buy a piece of property in some place in the southeast that's going to cash flow and help offset their costs of school? And then kind of do the same thing. Maybe you rent to other kids in another state. So still a good play. Anyway, this is Abe Antonucci with the Destination Real Estate Podcast, and just kind of giving you a market update from the December 2023 numbers in particular, and just talking about how you can invest in your college student with real estate and help to save some costs. So, hope to see you next time. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.